Today, we're diving into an invisible battlefield, one where the prize isn't territory, but your attention, and the weapon is information itself. We're going to break down the really sophisticated digital tactics being used in modern conflicts, a war that's being fought not on the ground, but right on the screen you're looking at now.
Let's just start with this quote, because it really sets a chilling tone, doesn't it? In today's conflicts, the battle isn't just physical anymore. It's a full-blown information war, where, honestly, the lines between what's real and what's fake have practically vanished.
And nothing has made this new reality clearer than the 2026 conflict. It was a flashpoint, yeah, geopolitically, but even more so online. The scale of AI-driven manipulation was so unprecedented that researchers started calling it something new, the very first AI war.
Almost as soon as it began, social media was just engulfed. It was this tsunami of truth, old lies, and for the first time at this kind of scale, incredibly realistic AI fakes. It created this digital fog of war so thick that telling fact from fiction became nearly impossible.
So, how do we even begin to make sense of all this chaos? To see the strategy hiding behind all the noise, we need a framework. So let's take a look at a powerful model that intelligence analysts use to dissect these exact kinds of campaigns. And here it is. This is the Diamond model. It's designed to break down any influence operation into 4 key corners and a central core. It gives us a really clear way to see who is behind a campaign, how they're doing it, and, most importantly, why. First up, on what's called the socio-political axis, you have the influencer. This is the starting point, the state, the group, or even just an individual who's actually creating and pushing the message.
And directly opposite them is the audience. You see, propaganda is never just a random broadcast. It's a targeted strike. It's designed to manipulate the beliefs, the fears, and the actions of a very specific group of people.
Okay, now let's switch over to the technical axis. This is where we find capabilities. This is the how. It's the entire digital arsenal they're using, which can be anything from sophisticated deepfake tech all the way to old-school psychological tricks. And all of these capabilities get delivered through the infrastructure. Think of this as the superhighway system for disinformation. Platforms like TikTok and X supercharged by these huge networks of automated bots and coordinated troll farms. But right at the very heart of the diamond, this is the most critical piece of the puzzle, the narrative. This is the core story that makes everything else make sense. It's the emotional hook, that simple, powerful idea designed to get stuck in your head. So let's actually apply this framework to what happened in the 2026 conflict. We'll start with that socio-political axis. Who were the players and who were they trying to reach? The sources show it was a really complex, multi-sided fight. You had pro-Iran and pro-Israel networks, both pushing their own versions of events. You had Russian state media jumping in to amplify anti-Western ideas. And you even had these engagement farmers, people just in it for clicks and cash, making the water even murkier. And they were targeting everyone, the American public, the Israeli public, even Iran's own people.
Okay, so we've got the players and the targets. Now let's look at the technical side, the sophisticated and often really deceptive tools that make up this new digital arsenal.
The key thing to get here is the mix of methods. It wasn't just one tactic. You saw a really simple deception, like old photos being passed off as new, or even video game clips from games like Arma being presented as real combat. But that was mixed in with highly advanced AI fakes, like fabricated satellite images and deepfake videos of missile strikes that are incredibly hard to debunk on the spot.
So, where did all this stuff spread? Well, analysis shows that while this content was everywhere, one platform was overwhelmingly responsible for that massive amplification. TikTok accounted for nearly 3/4 of the reach for these campaigns.
So you've got all this tech, you've got these swarms of fake accounts, this giant infrastructure, and it's all serving one central purpose: to win the war for the narrative. The real fight isn't for physical territory anymore. It's for mental territory. It's about waging war inside our own heads, turning our consciousness into the main battlefield.
Okay, so let's pull all the pieces of that diamond model back together and focus on the big picture. What does all this mean for pretty much anyone with a smartphone?
Here's the key takeaway. This isn't just random fake news. These are coordinated, well-funded campaigns. They strategically combine the influencers, the audiences, the tech, and the platforms, all for one reason: to wage a war for the narrative that takes place right inside your mind. Understanding the strategy is the first step toward building a defense.
And that leaves all of us with a really critical question to ask ourselves every single time we scroll. In this war for our minds, what is our best defense?